Are you for or against circumcision? How come? You phrased the question wrong. Should be foreskin or against it. Got cut when I was 19 due to an incident that ripped my frenulum. I was sexually active before and after. Before getting snipped, sex felt better and masturbation was miles better than after the snip. GF at the time also didn't even know I had a hood until the incident occurred. Who woulda thought? After getting cut, head was way better and the sex was marginally less satisfying. I also struggled with my stamina for about a year after. Honestly kind of wish I never got cut. But it is what it is. It's not like I'm necessarily against it, but personally wouldn't cut my own child unless he wanted it done electively at a later age. 1723-ish. Also the healing stage of my own circumcision was terrible and deserves its own blurb. But that can be told a different day. TLDR I'm pro skin. Edit. For clarity, I was pulling the skin out of the way before getting head. I did not have any phimosis or other conditions that may hinder that. Against had it done to me when I was 40 due to almost having phimosis. Basically it was tight and sometimes chafed, got a small tear and that eventually scarred and made things worse and worse. The healing process was horrible. Took me around 6 months not to feel uncomfortable when the Bellin touched clothing. Tried all kinds of underwear and solutions. To put it in other words, I was aware of the tip of my penis the whole time, which gets old after a very short period. I really miss the skin I lost. A lot of feeling disappeared from any kind of sexual activity. Especially the inside portion of the skin was sensory superorgan, and of course the remaining bits got desensitized to add insult to the injury. Please, if the foreskin is not malfunctioning, do not do the disservice of removing it from someone you are supposed to love. I believe in body autonomy. You do you, but don't make that decision for others. Well, I had to go through non-surgical foreskin restoration because I had such severe sexual dysfunction from too much being cut off. So I'm strongly against it and pretty much by default suspicious of anyone who's strongly for it. Coming from a country that doesn't practice circumcision, and everybody is fine, I am unable to see it as anything other than mutilation. I'm all about bodily autonomy. So, against it in babies barring medical necessity. I'm against interfering with a child's body for cosmetic purposes. I'm also against piercing a child's ears, but I think circumcision is much worse because it's a much more invasive procedure. I also think that because circumcision is so invasive and specifically performed on genitals, it's a really bizarre suggestion that it exists at all, and it seems to be the sort of thing that only exists at all due to religious superstition. I'm cut and don't mind it, but I wouldn't have it done if I had kids. I'm from the United States and for whatever reason it's common practice here. My parents did not opt to have it done to me and I'm thankful for that. The arguments for circumcision I've heard are insane. An example: my best friend, circumcised, absolutely opposes circumcisions, has voiced this to his Republican baby boomer father. His father, who was somehow personally offended by the idea of his grandson not being circumcised, replied, "What are you going to tell your son when he asks why his dick looks different than yours?" He replied, "I'll tell him that when I was born my parents made me have a very painful, completely unnecessary medical procedure. Your dick looks how it's supposed to. Mine is the weird one, son." Edit. So many of you firing back with, "Babies won't remember the pain," that is an insane thing to say to justify needlessly causing pain to any creature. I think chopping off bits of people's genitals without their consent is bad. Boys are not born defective. No other body part is removed at birth because 1. It might become infected. 2. It might need to be removed in the future. 3. Because one day a future partner might not like the way it looks. 4. To match their parents. Yeah, Jimmy, we got you a nose job when you were born to look like dad's. 5. Religious reasons can also be problematic because your child hasn't chosen a religion yet. If it's needed for medical reasons down the road, that's different, but anything else is unacceptable. And a violation of body autonomy. Besides the fact that 100 babies die a year from the procedure. https www.researchgate.net/publication/240804903 Lost Boys, an estimate of circumcision-related infant deaths. We decided not to circumcise for what we see are very practical reasons. Males are born with foreskin. Not having it means he'll likely experience the same excruciating chafing I get when running around in bathing suit all summer, which continues as you get older when cycling and running for longer distances. After the body glide is gone. Also, being born is rough. Greeting him with a procedure like circumcision is not cool. Unless a medical emergency or consented to by the adult whose penis it is on. A firm no. You don't just cut into infants' genitals. Shit is insane. It is literally mutilation. I'm against circumcision for the same reason I'm against giving babies tattoos. It's not acceptable to carry out non-medically necessary body modifications on people who can't consent. As a mom, we were told that it was done to avoid infections. That's what was pushed back when I was a young mom. If I had to make that choice again for my son, I would not have done so. I'd have let him make the choice at a later age. I've been circumcised since birth. It's never been a huge issue, but I do sometimes wonder if I'm less sensitive down there than I would have been otherwise. And I have some reason to think this could be the case. While I much prefer the look of circumcised dicks and also imagine it would really suck getting a circumcision later in life if you decide you want one, I lean strongly toward not circumcising anyone too young to make a decision. As for mature adults getting a circumcision, I have about as much an opinion on that as I do on adults deciding to get their ears pierced. Medically necessary? Of course. Voluntary and done by adults? You do you. Involuntary and done on kids? Hell to the nah. Every person should get to decide it on whether or not to have body mods. I have a son. We saw no medical need for it and chose not to have it performed. To be serious, I myself am circumcised. I didn't have a say in the matter and don't remember it, nor do I have any comparison to base how much sensation I potentially lost because of it. Knowing I can't really change my dick at this point, I've grown fond of it and like how it looks. When my son was born, his mother and I decided to leave it and let him decide later in his life if he wants to do it. Rare medical conditions aside where the procedure becomes mandatory, it should be his choice as it's his body.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.